Compared to other products in the space, we tackle month-end close automation a little bit differently. For one, implementation speed is extremely important to us. We tend to work with accounting teams that are just not in the mood, don't have the budget, don't want to expend the resources to hire third-party consultants or to mobilize their IT department. So we do all of our projects to set up over the course of 3 to 4 weeks so that we work with our accounting team directly. We set up our solution in-house. This is typically a month-end close checklist and hundreds of account reconciliations over the course of 3 to 4 weeks and get them trained, going live, and automating the month-end close pretty much immediately. Work reduction is another area where we really value. Our goal is to extract 10 to 40% reduction in monthly reconciliation volume almost immediately within your first reconciliation cycle. We understand that given the limited resources the accounting team has, it is extremely important to begin to automate and overall reduce the amount of work that the team has to do on a monthly basis. And that's an area that we focus on very diligently. We tend to find that folks at the manager and supervisor level tends to be bottlenecked during the month-end close. We have a ton of features such as the quality score and all kinds of dynamic risk alerting and approval workflow that is customizable that can help further reduce the amount of work that a supervisor and a manager has to do, again, during the month-end close. Our customer support philosophy is also a little different. We are a bit more traditional in the sense where, in addition to the regular portals and classes that you could take, much like any other software company, we still offer a white glove chat, email, and phone support to our users. So anybody who needs help, who needs perhaps some coaching to walk through their first cycle's close or have a technical question, they don't have to purely resort to these online forums and portals. And in fact, they can reach out to us anytime during business hours and get on a phone call or have a chat response in under an hour. The kind of companies that we see that could best benefit from month-end close automation are typically those that are fairly mature. And that is sometimes a misconception that we hear. Folks tend to think that those who need software are those who cannot close very well, but in fact, the opposite is true. So we tend to work with companies that are closing very well. Many of them are publicly traded, although not always. Our customers span across various industries, but a hallmark characteristic is that they are closing manually. By that, I mean lots of spreadsheets, lots of checklists, lots of, in some cases, paper and scanning and printing, maybe even using binders. So although they are closing well, they may not be closing as best as they can, and they may not be closing as quickly as they can. So in some cases, we can come in and pretty quickly reduce their close cycle by more than a day or two. In many cases, we'll come in and completely eliminate the use of paper over the course of 1 or 2 cycles. In other cases, we will come in and immediately reduce up to 30–40% of their reconciliation volume and free up their human resources time to work on other more important activities during the close. There are a few factors today that I feel has really hastened the need for month-end close automation. One is our modern hybrid work environment. It is just a fact of life now that your accounting and finance team are probably not all together physically. However, your monthly close cycle and the deadlines probably have not changed very much. Automation is a good solution to accommodate the decentralized workforce while at the same time still meeting your closing deadlines. And another area that we have started to pay more attention to is the increased risk of fraud, and especially in the financial reporting area. with all the changes that have gone on in the last few years with our hybrid or complete remote workforce, it is unfortunately easier and easier now to commit financial statement fraud as well as occupational fraud. So with the benefit of software comes the ability to implement oftentimes preventive controls. These are internal controls that can be put in place that occurs systematically, that do not require human intervention, that can very quickly identify anomalies or perhaps activities that should not be happening during the month-end close. It's pretty well known that occupational fraud of all kinds is generally responsible for about 6% revenue loss for an average company. And that statistic is prior to the pandemic. With the onset of the pandemic, I would imagine that the statistics is now much higher. What automation can do for an accounting team that is perhaps struggling with maintaining proper internal controls, that is perhaps struggling with the remote workforce, is it essentially glues your process together when it comes to the month-end close, and it starts to disperse many preventive controls that can be put in place to identify anomalies or activities that perhaps should not be happening and really catch that before too much damage has occurred.